The Division, the Division, the Division. Today I wanted to jump around the Division Universe, and I keep saying the Division, don't I? You know, maybe we should just make that into a drinking game, as it is Friday. Every time I say the Division, you just take a shot of your favorite beverage. But I can see it now. Headline reads, The Division Ultra fan gets wrecked while watching YouTube video. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't go there today. What's going on, everybody? It's LtBuzzLitebeer, and I wanted to jump around the Division and take a look at all the latest news from the entire universe, including some info that was a bit buried but may give us some clues as to the future direction of the franchise. You guys have been knocking it out of the park for destroying that sub button, as the channel is now less than 8,000 subscribers from the magical 100,000 sub mark. And just in case you aren't yet a sub, please take a moment to smash that big, beautiful subscribe button and make sure to ring the bell to stay up to date on all my latest uploads. The Division! Just kidding. Let's get this one going. Let's kick this one off with the Division mobile game Resurgence, which has been dominating my Twitter timeline each time they seem to make an announcement. This offering is really polarizing, as gamers are either strongly for or against mobile games in general, and it really shines through in the responses. What really ignited some sideways glances at this game happened recently, as the message from the Resurgence comms team was for all players wanting in on the closed alpha, which, by the way, began yesterday. Anyways, all they had to do was register, get their names into the pool, and if they were selected, they could download the game and dive right in. But in reality, it didn't quite pan out like that. As the invite started rolling out on the 15th, there was a caveat attached to it that the playtest invites were for only EU players, snubbing North American gamers, which would have been nice to know before everyone submitted their info and began spamming their email refresh buttons, only to find out if they lived in the Western Hemisphere, they were on the outside looking in. I guess this is revenge for North American players getting to try out the Heartland playtest, while the EU players were out in the cold. Now, there are also multiple posts from players who were fortunate enough to receive EU invites, only to find out their mobile devices are not compatible with the game. It is, after all, an alpha, but not the smoothest of launches. Hopefully the Resurgence team will learn from this and launch much stronger when they alpha test in North America. Let's now jump from mobile to the Heartland. The Division Heartland, that is, and this one continues to be an enigma. Now, since that leaked early test footage hit the internet early last year, it has been lights out for this free-to-play offering set in the Division universe. Rumor has it that the game has gone through significant changes and improvements, but that's about all that is known. Tom Henderson, noted video game insider and leak hoarder, hit us with some information in his X-Fire write-up back in February. Man, has it really been that long? Anyways, Henderson posted an article outlining the new game modes, map details, and more, but much like the way this Division game rolls, it has been comms dark. The community started really stretching, hoping, looking for any sign of life from Redstorm, the studio behind the development of Heartland. So, when the studio's official Twitter account retweeted the next Ubisoft Forward broadcast on September 10th, fans of the Division Heartland immediately began circling this date on their calendars for when Heartland would finally make its official appearance, much like Skull and Bones did on July 7th, which, by the way, that did look interesting. So, here's to the Division Heartland getting that same full broadcast treatment on September 10th. The Division 1, the OG, whatever you want to call it, and by the way, doesn't this game footage just look stunning in the background, even now? Not much has been going on surrounding number 1, as the game still has a loyal following, and I frequently see players queuing up for the greatest extraction BR of all time, Survival. And there is a dedicated group of community members that are constantly putting on Survival Saturdays. Here's looking at you, Splinter Shield. Even though the game is now over 6 years old, it continues to update and run global events. And for anyone wanting the latest 411, here is the updated calendar from Ubisoft. August will feature Outbreak, followed up by Ambush, Assault, Strike, and they will finish out the year on Blackout. Now, the Division is still retailing for $49.99 USD on Uplay, which I think is a bit steep for a 6-year-old game. But if you have never played the original title, the Gold Edition includes the base game with all the DLCs included, so there's a lot of content here to keep you interested in playing. Now on to the Division 2, and coming off of their extremely positive reception for the new Season 9 Manhunt and story narrative, the crew at Massive are now on vacation, but will return next month. Season 10 and 11 have both been confirmed, with Season 10 slated to drop in late August, at least according to this timeline released by the studio. Now, I will not be touching it, but there is apparently a full breakdown of the narrative storyline for both upcoming seasons as part of a huge Reddit leak, and I purposely avoided any spoilers for that content, so don't expect me to be reporting any of that information. Now, while I'm on the subject, Season 11 will be set to go live sometime in early December of this year, with highlights for both seasons, including new Manhunt targets, new Legendary difficulty strongholds, new Countdown difficulties, and a new game mode set to be included in the December release. Now, if you're like me and play on PC, ever since Season 9 went live, just being able to log into the game and get in a play session has been a freaking adventure each and every time I press play. The PC version of the game is more moody than a teenager, as some days it behaves just fine and acts like it loves you. Then the very next day it savagely attacks you, consistently kicking you from the game. The previous announcement that the PC crash fix would be deployed, then where'd you get that information from, and then just absolute silence, has now been confirmed as being included with the Street Activation Apparel event on August the 9th. And by the way, that was a double inclusion there. Expect both the apparel event and the long-awaited PC crash fix to drop the very same day. Now, since there was no text concerning the PC crash issue with the apparel event announcement, I reached out to the team at Massive and got a response from Morton. The entire Division PC community has their collective fingers and toes crossed on this one. Now on to the thumbnail theme of the Division 3, and the possibility of this just keeps getting further and further away, at least if Massive is expected to main the development. Based on the Q1 Ubisoft investors call, they made no mention of the Division 2 or the future of the franchise outside of discussing Resurgence and Heartland, along with a very minor statement. Avatar, also developed by Massive, has now been pushed back to a 2023-2024 launch window, and we know that Massive is also busy at work developing the next Star Wars game. Now, of the 65 positions Massive is currently seeking to fill, 2 are for the Division 2. One is a game designer, and the other is for a game director position, and one would think that if the studio was gearing up to make a run at the Division 3, they would be reaching out to fill many more positions than just 2. Now, we know that much of the original Division team that is still with Massive has been redeployed to new projects, leaving the Division 2 to rebuild once it was brought back from the dead with plans for Season 9, 10, and 11. If Massive and Ubisoft would have followed their previous precedents of announcing and release dates, then the Division 3 would have launched in March of this year, but these are different times, and Massive is a different studio than that of the past. Now, Ubisoft Corporate seems to be in a cost-cutting mode, delaying Avatar, like I said, to 23-24, while canceling Ghost Recon Frontline, Splinter Cell VR, and 2 unannounced titles citing uncertain economic environments as the root cause. After listening to the latest investors' call, stem to stern, I only heard the Division referenced once, very briefly by the corporate voices on the call. Here's what they said. There are also future projects with our brands, with among others Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Tom Clancy's The Division, and our investments in F2P, free-to-play, including XDefiant, Rainbow Six Mobile, The Division Heartland, and Ghost Recon Frontline. As previously stated, Ubisoft boasts the richest game pipeline in its history for years to come. So it could be taken several different ways here. The fact that the Division is broken out by itself away from Resurgence and Heartland could be seen as positive, but after further review of the text of the earnings statement, there's also no mention of the Division franchise itself. Now, there is certainly the potential for a third installment to the franchise, or at least a full-blown DLC, possibly in another city or country to help revitalize the IP. Now, if or when information is made available, I will, of course, report it. But with the vibe from the call doing its best to skirt around the Division franchise, excluding its 2 free-to-play releases in the works, fans of the IP could be waiting a very long time for TD3 to ever surface. As always, I look forward to reading your feedback in the comments section below. Don't forget to smash that sub button and ring the bell to receive all my latest upload alerts. If you could take a few seconds more to rate and or share this video, it would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget, you can find and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and over on my community Discord server. Links to all my socials in the video description below. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.